Welcome back to the Prehistoric Sea World. In today's episode, we will build a walkthrough exhibit that our guests will be able to enter. This is all possible thanks to the new dinosaur guest hostility, which was added with the latest update. This enclosure will feature one of my favorites, the Parasaurolophus, but we'll also build some smaller exhibits for dinos like the Dilophosaurus. Hello guys, this is Caesar Creates, and welcome back to my channel. It's time for another episode of the Prehistoric Sea World, and I am very excited for this one because today we'll be doing something really cool, and this thing is the walkthrough exhibit for the dinos, or maybe more for our guests. So our guests will be able to actually enter the exhibit or the enclosure for the dinos, walk through it, see the dinos up close and then exit it and see the rest of the park. And it is all possible thanks to the latest free update for the Jurassic World Evolution 2, the update 7, that introduced the dinosaur guest hostility. So from now on, if you go to your settings, maybe I will include here a quick tutorial on the screen right now. So all you need to do is go to your sandbox settings, find the dinosaur settings, and then turn off the dinosaur danger to guest. You can set it to carnivores only or to all animals or dinosaurs. And if you turn it off, the guests will just ignore the dinosaurs. The dinosaurs will also ignore the guests. So you'll be able to just either have your dinos just free roam around your park, or for example, build and walk through exhibit as we will be building here today. The only thing that you need to make sure of while building an exhibit like that is how your guests will enter the exhibit, and also how to make it so that the dinos won't be able to escape the exhibit. Of course, it's so much easier with the bigger dinos, such as sauropods or hadrosaurs and so on, because you can use, for example, the Jurassic Park gates that we got with the free anniversary update, or those like walls that I'm using in here with this opening for the guests. The dinos just won't be able to fit through there, so they won't be able to escape. The only thing is, it's sort of challenging with the smaller ones, but there's still some things you can do to make sure that they will be kept inside. So for example, add some smaller decorations that the guests are able to, just feed through, and the dinos are not. So this is what we'll do today. And our walkthrough exhibit that we are building and right now will be for one of my favorite dinos, the Parasaurolophus. I just love them, and I think that they make sense for a walkthrough exhibit like that. I was looking for dinos that look like they will be docile, like they wouldn't harm people. So to me, the Parasaurolophus looks like a big ungulate. So there are examples of walkthrough exhibit, for example, for fallow deers, for different deers, maybe some antelopes at zoos. So the Parasaurolophus is also a hadrosaur, so I think that it made a perfect sense for our SeaWorld. As I told you guys, we won't only have lagoons in here, we'll also have dinos that are sort of like associated with water. So some dinos that I could see living in more like swampy areas or coastal areas and stuff like that. Of course, I wanted to give it some different, mates in the habitat, so it wouldn't be only species living here. And I decided to go for two different dinos. I actually decided to make it geographically accurate. I wanted to go for Gallimimus, but looking at the fossil map of this game, I decided to go for the dinos that, the fossils were found nearby to the Parasaurolophus of fossils. So the dinos that are coming from the North America. And I decided to go for the Edmontosaurus and the Dryosaurus. I know that the Dryosaurus has dry in its name, and we are building a very swampy habitat in the SeaWorld, but I just think that in comparison to the bigger Parasaurolophus and also the even bigger Edmontosaurus, it looks good. And I also think that Parasaurolophus looks really good in the enclosure with the Edmontosaurus, because even though they are both hadrosaurs, you can clearly see a difference that they are totally different dinos. This enclosure looks so beautiful. I really love how it has turned out. I had this vision in my mind of the path going through a swamp, and I think that I was able to achieve something like this, and it looks really cool. What I feel helps to sell the vision of the swamp are those logs from the free anniversary update. I just love them. I wish that we all had more options of them to place in our exhibits, because I think that this is such a cool additional touch that you can add to your exhibits. What I also did was add those long flat rocks from the temperate set to the like parameter of the whole habitat, just to make like a natural barrier in the back, because we won't be using fences there, just for a look, so it looks more natural. What I love also about the rocks and about the new things in the game is this like random rock placer or anything like that allows you to place randomly rotated rocks just by clicking, and you know, they appear there and so on. It is so much easier to like create more natural looking habitats right now with just those rocks scattered all over the habitat and so on. I skipped some things like adding those rocks because I think that it was just too boring and too long. I also skipped adding things like those small concrete fences to the path. I wanted to surround the path like in this walkthrough exhibit with the small fences, just to prevent the guests from, you know, wandering off or falling into the water or so on. But I still had to leave some like gaps for the dinos to be able to cross the path. I will of course show you all that in the real-time part of the video in the tour, so you know what I'm actually talking here about. So when this enclosure was done, I did some decorating in front of it. I still wanted to give the guests a choice if they want to go inside of there, or maybe they don't want to, they are, I don't know, afraid for some reason and so on, and they still will be able to see the dinos from just the regular path. And after that, it was time to add the two missing exhibits in the entrance area. I finally added them, so now the entrance and this whole part of our park is done, and I decided to go for one herbivore and one carnivore enclosure, and the first enclosure that we will add will be for the carnivores, for the Dilophosaurus. I didn't have too much space in here, so I had to go for a smaller dino. I was like debating if I should add the Dilophosaurus or the Celophysis in there, but I decided to go for the Dilophosaurus because it is slightly more interesting because of the thrill. I think that the guests, when they will enter the park, they will be right away amazed by this wonderful creature. So it all makes sense to me to add something more interesting in there. And also, for me, it's more like a tropical dino. It sort of looked like it would live in a tropical forest or something like that. So I think that it looks really cool in this like very green and lush swampy habitat that I did for it. Yeah, that was the one enclosure. And in the second one, we'll have flamingos. I really thought that it would be cool to have something like flamingos by the entrance to the SeaWorld. The flamingos are the animals that are often kept at the entrances in the zoos. And I decided to go for the Struthiomimus. It sort of looks like a big bird. It sort of looks like a flamingo if you will squint your eyes a bit. And with the flamingos, I wanted to have some like tortoises living in there. So I decided to go for the Nodosaurus because again, those dinos are both from the North America. So I really want to pay attention in the future to actually house the dinos together based by the continents that they are from, based by the places that they are for. So it all makes more sense to actually try to replicate those natural habitats of the dinos that could live together or just lived in the similar places, but maybe not at the same time. This is actually what most of the real life zoos do really well, like mix those different species based by the regions that they are from. So it's not something out of the blue, like having a giraffe living with an animal like, I don't know, a llama or an American bison. This just doesn't make sense. So, and that's why I decided to mix the Struthiomimus with the Nodosaurus. I also wanted to have smaller dinos in there because the enclosure isn't too big. And that's all. When it comes to the Dilophosaurus exhibit, you could see me trying to add the fence in the back. I just thought that it makes sense for the dino that is actually dangerous to our guests to be like fully enclosed, to, you know, have it securely closed in an exhibit. But the fence just looked so bad on the slope, like it was crooked, it was looking not the best. So in the end, I decided to go for this invisible fence and hide it with a lot of bushes and different rocks and stuff. So you can just imagine that the fence is really there, but it's just hidden in those plants and so on. When it comes to the second enclosure, for the one from the Struthiomimus and the Nodosaurus, there's this like beautiful view for the sea or the ocean in the back, and I didn't want to cover it completely, so I left those sneak peeks for the guests to still be able to see this ocean, but I surrounded the whole habitat with rocks, because with those dinos I think that the rocks would just work for them not to be able to escape, and it just looks amazing. So I really like those two smaller like enclosures. I think that they just, you know, were this like really cool final touch to our entrance area, and that they suit well. I will of course show it all in the real-time part in a second. Okay, so this is basically all when it comes to the speed build part of the video. I will of course give you guys a tour in a second. I am really happy with how this park is growing, with all the new enclosures just look really cool. So I'm very excited for the future of this park. We didn't add any lagoons in this episode, but we will for sure add some, maybe one or two in the next episode. So if you are still waiting for your favorite marine creatures to be added, please be more patient. So yeah, this is all. So let's meet in a second for the tour. I'm so in love with how this has actually turned out. It looks so amazing with the dinos and the guests sharing this one big space. I love how this path is curving through this habitat. I had to add something for the guests to have some destination so that they actually are walking through it, but it looks so good. So we have our Parasaurolophus in here, of course, the Dominion version, because this is the one that I actually prefer, and the Edmontosaurus in here, and also the small Dryosaurus. I feel like that those dinos could work for an exhibit like this, especially the cute and adorable Dryosaurus that I am sure wouldn't harm a fly or any living creature, because it is just so cute. So the whole enclosure is very swampy. It features a lot of water sections that are, some are connected, some are not. It features also a lot of those kinds of plants that for me look kind of like a swamp plants that could work for plants that would work, like would grow in the water. So I really like it. So I zoomed out to show you guys how it all actually works. So as you guys can see, I added this gate in here that the guests use to walk in and out of this enclosure, and I also added like this lamppost and the sticks that prevent the dinosaurs from escaping, especially the Dryosaurus, which is a smaller dino. The Parasaurolophus and the Edmontosaurus are good with just this gate. We also have the path, and we have those like spaces where there are no fences, so that the dinos can cross from one side to the other. And yeah, they are just, you know, enjoying their time. The guests are also enjoying seeing them up close. We can actually go in a bit to see. Oh my god, I'm so bad with operating this capture mode. How it all works with the dinos and how cool it looks. Okay, so this is one thing that I created. What I also like about this enclosure is that I created like this, I don't know, spring or just a place where the water would just accumulate from this mountain. So this river that we have in here, and that will probably continue through next enclosures that we'll build here, has some place where it actually just starts. So this is like a spring or anything like that. Oh, you can see the dinos actually crossing the path right now. As you can see, the guests are not panicking, they are not running away, everything is just fine. Okay, so besides that enclosure that is, you know, just located, if we just zoom out in here on the left side, on the right side of our lagoon, where we have this like walk, this ride, underwater ride in there. I also did this part. We didn't do it in the last episode, so I decided to complete it so it all is done. As you guys can see, it is maybe not identical. Those paths are more like they're not twins, they are maybe not even sisters, they're more like cousins. So unfortunately, because this path is sort of like curving this way, this space was just bigger than in here, so there are just those bigger spaces between paths. But if I wouldn't tell you, you probably wouldn't notice. So but it still looks cool with all those rock textures, the rocks and the redwoods that are growing in here. You will notice that there's this fence. This is just because the guests, if I didn't have this fence, they weren't really using this path. They were going just straight here. So I will have to figure out why this Dryosaurus was out of the enclosure. It all worked just fine. I don't know what happened. Okay, I will have to have a look at that when we finish recording, and you know, maybe add some more decorations in here so they are not escaping. But we also have some other new things in our park. As you guys can see, the entrance area is a bit more finished because we added this enclosure in here and also the other enclosure on the other side. So this also is new. This enclosure in here is for the Dilophosaurus. I just thought that this dino makes sense for something like this. I wanted to have something interesting to see for the guests when they will enter the zoo, the park. The first thing that they will see, and also it's very like overgrown, very lush with those water sections, and the Dilophosaurus to me looks a bit like a tropical dino, so I think it just suits so well to this exhibit. I went for more like green colors, as you guys can see, because I think that those colors suit to this park so well. I decided to, you know, use here more like green grayish colors, so it's all cohesive and looks nice. We have those fences, of course, in here, so that the guests are not able to walk too close to the fences, so you know they wouldn't be bitten. So I'm always paying attention to things like this. We have a sign actually for the Dilophosaurus, so it looks so cool. I just love when you get those sneak peeks of the dinos somewhere in between, you know, different plants, that you can actually see that something is living in there, but maybe you cannot see it so like clear, and it is so like zoo-like, so my thing. I love it. Okay, let's go to this habitat. So on the other side, as I told you in the speedwheel section, I wanted to have something like flamingos. And to me, the Struthiomimus looks the most like a flamingo. They are just so cool. And this is their enclosure on the other side. In here, we don't have like a high fence because I didn't feel the need to add it. We also only have like this invisible barrier that I am treating as an electrical wire or something like this. So we have the Struthiomimus, as you guys can see in here, and we also have a Nodosaurus. And we can actually see this new animation of them just holding their heads over the water, and it is so cool. So the 2 Nodosaurus, I think there are 3 in this habitat, and I think 8 of the Struthiomimus. But they are hanging a lot in this forest in there. Oh, there's a 3rd Nodosaurus. I also love those logs. Again, I think that they help to sell the idea of the swamp so much. I love how this habitat looks. It is so overgrown and so lush. And again, we have those sneak peeks for the ocean, for our guests, simply so they can have this wonderful view in here. What I also did is finish like sort of this area for the parking lot, so that this whole area is now done. So basically to this point in here, we have everything like basically finished, done, and yeah, maybe let's go out from the capture mode for a second so it's easier to move. And yeah, I am so happy with how this is all coming along. Of course, in the next episodes, we'll focus on this area in here. I can also show you the map real quick. So we have our entrance, we have the lagoons, the things that we did last time, and this is the new walkthrough exhibit. And those are the new small exhibits that we have right now. And yeah, I'm so happy with this project. I'm so happy with how it is all, you know, coming along and so on. Okay guys, so this is basically all when it comes to this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Ring the bell if you want to be notified every time I upload a new video. Give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and of course leave me a nice comment down below if you liked today's video. If you like to support the channel a little bit extra, you can do it with the join button down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!